Hello, Tom Wetner here from chilly upstate New York, the conversationalist. Guess what, people? It's Friday, Friday, Friday. And what do we say when we come in on Friday? Did you have a good week? No. We had that week that everybody drove us crazy. So on Friday, we get it all out. We just throw it up and not even have to deal with it anymore. So, like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever else you can do for me to help me get this channel off the ground, please do. And remember, like, subscribe, comment, and share for St. Jude Hospital and Aortic Hope. Aortic Hope. So, guys, guess what? We got the wizard in the house. Josh is here.
What is up? I was thinking about something for your intro. I was thinking, how about we say something like on the way in, share on the way out?
No,
No. Yeah,
that's
I thought I'd swing it at you.
no. If there's a curse word in there, I'd say yes, but no. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Once again, I'm sure Josh has been putting in this tag on my videos, and if he hasn't, guess what? No milkshake for him. Vote! 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 Don't be stupid. If you don't vote, you don't have a dog in the fight. That means if you voted for somebody and they said they were going to do something and they don't do it, you vote them out. That simple. You hold people accountable. Right now, nobody's accountable. Not the president, not the vice president, not the guy running for office, none of the senators or any of those people are accountable. You know who they're accountable? To the money market fund. They can balloon that as fast as they can balloon the debit. Debit. So anyway, let's get back on subject. Because it's Friday and we should have a good time, right? So, but if you don't vote, I'm going to hunt you down. So it was a hell of a week for me. Worst thing of the week is you had to believe this or not. My blood work came back. They were trying to up some of my goodies in your blood system, and I went into anaphylactic shock, which they just still don't know what put me in that, but it was some combination of that or maybe one of the girls' perfume. I don't know, but anyway, it was the first time I was ever in it, and it was the first time anybody ever used an EpiPen. I do not recommend it. I don't recommend the anaphylactic shock. First off, because you're struggling to breathe, and all the people around you going, "Oh, he's just having a panic attack." So listen, that was in the middle of my week, and I had to deal with a lot of things. Now, last week I gave you movies to watch. What a bunch of crybabies! Yes, it was. They were black and white. Do you get it? It wasn't about blowing stuff up. It was about dialogue, about filming from different angles and seeing where the light lays. And oh my God, you guys, you're John Wick out. You're all running around looking for the next John Wick. Guys. I, I learned my whole history and how the government works and, you know, con jobs. I was young. I had to make money. But I watched the movies, like The Searchers. It has a lot to do with somebody's obsessive need to have closure, as we say in this modern world. We must get the closure. Well, John Wayne and The Searchers got the closure, and his journey was mystifying. But do you watch it? No, because in the first 4.5 minutes, nobody dies. So turn it off. Grapes of Wrath. I got 3 comments on that movie. Are you kidding me? You can learn from 1909 all the way up to 1930s in one movie. The Grapes of Wrath. If you really want to do something amazing, if you want to have 2.5 hours go by without even knowing it, get the audiobook. Oh my God. Now the movie ends on a high note, right? But the guy is walking away, but his family's on a high note. The book, oh God, the ending of the book is so tragic. So you'll get to see this amazing book by John Steinbeck, Grapes of Wrath. Great cinematography. Yeah, John Huston. You understand? It will change your life. I put a pearl in your hand and you thought it was a gumball and you ate it. And now look, this third one, I cannot believe how many people told me they didn't get it. They watched it, but they didn't get it. Okay. Let me give it to you. You come in at the end of the trial, they already found him enough evidence to send it to a jury. All the people have presented their positions. They took all the testimony and the evidence, and all you're seeing is the people getting up out of the jury box and walking into the jury room. Now the whole movie takes place in one room, so everything is claustrophobic. The way they filmed it was up, like you can see people's nose hairs. It was to give you that tension, that uncomfortableness. And there is 12 people, all with lives. This one guy wants to get to a ball game. He doesn't give a shit. He's saying guilty just to go to the ball game. In the end, it rains, so he wasn't going to get to the ball game anyway. But you have 12 people in this room. That's all. 12 people in a small little room. And one guy says, no. We can't just vote him guilty without some kind of dialogue, some kind of discussion. And it brings you all this way through to how one person with one historic, brave act can stand up to the crowd. Sound like something else? The Republic, not democracy, the Republic of the United States. You get it? Well, this one guy, through reason and logic and tearing the whole testimony apart and talking about people with glasses and not glasses and other people, guys, the nuances in this movie they're too many for me to explain to you. You got to watch it 2 or 3 times, take notes on it. I'm telling you, each time you watch it, you're going to love it better. You got another guy that's just fiddling with the fan. He doesn't care about anything. I'll vote with the majority. And he's playing with the stupid fan that's broken. He's such a dynamic character within letting the air out of the room because there's always this tension. And then slowly but surely they all come around, and all for their own reason. And it isn't like Henry Fonda was forcing people to change their opinion. He was just trying to give them the logic of the situation and was trying to decide, basically, you guys got to give this guy his due. We're supposed to deliberate. You know that word? Does anybody know that word? Deliberate. That means to talk it over, to make sure what you think and what I think and what they said to us means the same thing. Now you can't get people to go on jury duty, so they dropped it from 12 to 6, just because they're so short of jurors. I mean, I've heard of cases where a juror gets out of a case real early, and the judge has the bailiffs bring them over to the other courtroom to hear another case in the afternoon. That really sucks. You're there doing your duty, and you get kidnapped, basically, to do more of your doo-doo. So anyway, listen, this is, trying to teach you the way I learned, because obviously the way you guys are teaching yourselves is not working. Stop with the bang 'em, shoot 'em up naked girls. You can do that anytime you want. So for every 10 hours of porn you're watching, you got to give me 2 hours of watching a good movie. That's all I got to say about that. Okay. Here's the other tragedy in my life. My beautiful daughter, the love of my life. If she came before the boys wouldn't be here. I had to go through 6 boys to get to one girl, but it was worth it. She's the apple of my eye. I made her tough, but her mother made her cute. Isn't that amazing how you get this little bundle of bones and flesh and this little mushroom brain and you get to bring it forth and let it grow and give it experiences of life and hopefully not scar them for the rest of their lives, which I did to my kids. But anyway, get back to the point, Tom. I find out purely by coincidence, because I overheard a conversation, my wife tells somebody else that my Brianna has never voted. Well, as a guy who was raised in the 50s and 60s, I don't remember a year that went by, whether I was in grade school, middle school, high school, truancy school, that we didn't vote. That they put a box out, they had a ballot, you had to go and vote. I think you voted for the borough president, the mayor, you voted for senators and congresspeople, and you voted for the president. And you voted, you folded it up, and some kid that was too tough for his age, we'd bring a box around to each classroom and we would put it in, and we'd be like all excited, all day long. We're vibrating because we want to know who won. So, let's just take Eisenhower for a fact. Our school elected him. So that night, all the voting's getting done, right? So that they don't announce it at night, by the way, guys. It wasn't 24-hour TV or anything like that. You had to wait till the newspapers came out and they told you who won the next day. Because we only voted on one day. If you had an absentee ballot, you filled it out. Somebody from your household brought it in, they voted, and they dropped your absentee ballot in. Say you had one leg shorter than the other with a chain on the long one. Means you can't go vote, right? Get it? Chain on the... Never mind. So it was a good joke. God help me. So anyway, my daughter doesn't vote. Get me right in the heart. So I haven't said anything to her yet. In fact, I haven't said anything to the green-eyed, red-haired Irish witch either, because I think if I go off on this, it will be the big one, Elizabeth, because I can't believe you have. Do you know what people do to vote in other countries? Hundreds of miles they have to walk. They have to dip their finger in ink that is so toxic, because they don't want you washing it off, that they predict that the cancer rate is going to go up solely because when you vote, you got to dip your finger in this ink that lasts for a month before you got to actually slough off skin. You can't wash it off. Isn't that scary? And that's what they'll put up with. They'll take old people and put them in a cart. I'm not talking about a hospital bed. I'm not talking about a wheelchair. I mean, an old rickety wooden cart. To this day, wrap them in blankets and take them down to City Hall so they get to vote. Do you understand? Do you understand that voting keeps us from going down the drain? I mean, there was a time when people working for the government, for the Senate and Congress and everybody, it was a part-time job. Not like in the 80s, it changed. My whole life, you saw the senator more than some of your family or the congressman because they were in their office in the district, or they were at the hardware store and you could go and see them there, or they were at the paint store or the butcher shop. But you knew where you could find them, and it was a face-to-face interaction. I mean, there was no 16 Secret Service between you and the person you wanted to talk to that's going to represent you, like it is now. I got to shake JFK's hand. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing to me that, the guy got killed, and that's another story. But the truth of the matter is I lived it. I was able to make hand-to-hand contact with the President of the United States. Now, if he's not on a screen, you don't get to him. If he's not on a podium, you don't get to him. The individual giving his opinion happens only on this wonderful social media, as the new generations say. And it's this space that contacts everybody equally. And I'm thinking to myself, everybody equal. How can you make that statement? Because 2 years ago, I barely knew how to turn on a computer. My evolution in that time has been pretty great. I mean, got my first cell phone, was taught how to use that. Well, not my first cell phone. I had a flip phone before that, but the first smartphone. Stop. Don't critique me. I hate it when you guys do that. I know I'd mess up sometime. I'm 73 years old. I can mess up sometimes. Oh, by the way, like, subscribe, comment, share to Tom the Wedner, the conversationalist. However, as a side commercial, we can get Josh to cut this into a commercial and send it over to my friends at Aorta Cope and St. Jude. Like the Aorta Cope, let me tell you, just get off subject for a minute. This is an organization by patients, not doctors, not spokesmen, not whatever. This is people who had some type of aortic disease, as we call it. And they got together probably 3 years ago, maybe more. I don't know. I don't care. And don't give me the finger, Josh. I hate it when you do that. Anyway, I'm trying to keep on target here, and you're making monkey shines. Anyway, so go over to Aorta Cope, and everything you see on there is genuine. I mean, it's first person. It's not even, how do I say it? It's not even suspects of being fake. I mean, you can't get the people to speak like this and fake it. Because everything I've seen on there is from the heart. Kind of a throwback to the way TV was in the 60s and 70s. And Aorta Cope has taken this media and used it for a purpose so good. I mean, so generous, so they don't do it for themselves. Oh, maybe, I guess a little bit. It's good therapy, I guess. Let me give them therapy. However, they are filling a void. Now, everybody's going, what's the void? Well, think about it. You're sick as a dog and you're in the hospital anywhere from 10 days to months. And they put you out the door and they go, look, we've done everything we can, and here's your list of medicines, and don't do this, but you can do that. And they give you the whole spiel. Now, listen to me. If you had an aortic dissection or aneurysm, when I had it 12 years ago, I was in the 3 percentile that survived. I mean, it's much greater now, but I got to tell you, woo, it's a scary thing to go through. You know, I had so many women in my family go through breast cancer. I mean, for a while there, I don't think I had anything but pink t-shirts in my drawer because it was tragic. I think we had 4, like within the course of 3 years, die of breast cancer. I was like, we got to have a cure for this. I mean, we just donated, to the Cancer Society, the $17th trillion, and we still don't have a cure for the major cancers. Come on, guys. If we could not cure, but control AIDS, we can control cancer. And that was said by Josh. So I got to give him credit or I'll cry like a baby in the bathroom. As always, I have my clipboard because I'm old and I can't keep track. So let's get back on track. So I got to have a
I do have a question. Do you see a correlation between career politicians and C-SPAN running their 24-hour magnifying glass on politics?
Who watches C-SPAN?
Oh, I don't know.
Nobody.
I will get very high and just watch C-SPAN, and it's incredible. It's incredible.
C-SPAN is a great concept. However, if you say to somebody, where is C-SPAN on your watch list? I guarantee you, if it's not the bottom, it's close to. Okay? And the next thing is, we have transitioned in the 80s from the true politician who's in there to, voice his opinion and make it better. He's not there to Pelosi eyes. Hey, I like that word. Make
a healthy
money
democracy
and,
doesn't just
Biden eyes to get your family off of shit. And, Nixon, who just totally disregarded the whole premise of the president. He was just in there to make money. That's another story. I got a lot of stories about the Watergate.
All right, so it looks like C-SPAN can be found on YouTube. And here's the thing about this. I'm going to bring this up on the side so everybody can see what I'm looking at. All right. Can you twist yourself over to the other side of the chair? Thank you.
Excuse me, you're all behind us.
Yeah,
Let me just move so I can make it better for you.
So C-SPAN programs 3 public affairs television networks covering Capitol Hill, the White House, and national politics. C-SPAN is a private, nonprofit public service created by the cable television industry. Okay, now, this is something that they do. And what is incredible here is that they only have 1.48 million subscribers. They've only produced 11,000 videos, but they get 685 million views. More people need to pay attention to these things.
I bet you if you bring the stats up on that, and I'm going to tell you this because you're not going to blow me off this point. It is mostly foreigners that are watching C-SPAN. And you know why I know that? Because when I am in Europe, say Italy or Ireland, where we have family, I see more C-SPAN when I'm over there than I do here. Because Europe and even, like Greece and all the Eastern European countries, they all watch C-SPAN. So I don't think I would like to see the stats where people are watching from. And I think then we'd get a much better picture of why C-SPAN doesn't work. Now, why does C-SPAN doesn't work? Well, let's face it. Who is the director of programming for C-SPAN? Whoever they are, listen to me. They're not John Ford. They're not Martin Scorsese. There's some guy sitting, chewing gum, picking his nose, playing videos while the cameras record whatever's not going on in the Capitol. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, tell me. Send me a comment that says, Tom, you're an asshole. Or Tom, you are right. Which I really like the ones that say, Tom, you're right, because it feeds my ego. Did I tell you my daughter has never voted? God, bless me. I go from one problem to another. Isn't that terrible? Do you know in 2022, only 13% of the young people voted? 13%, that's the same number of blacks in this country, or people who identify as other than white, as they say in the proper circles. Well, I've never been in the proper circles. I'm never going to be there. So I don't care what you think of me. So just take me for what I'm worth. So when did this really, well, back in the old days when we used to have to dodge the dinosaurs to get to the voting booth, it was a family affair. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, Uncle Louie, who was actually Uncle Reg, who was taking Uncle Louie's place because Uncle Louie had to go back to the old country, but he didn't want to get ID, so never mind. That's another story. Anyway, so it was a family affair. We'd all go down. My Uncle Mike would pick us up in the Hudson, and off we go to the polling booth. And it was usually at, the Lions Club or Masonic Temple or the Italian American clubs, the Elks Club, the Eagles Club, all those clubs back then, the Legion, the Foreign Legion, guys that didn't want a Legion. I don't know, but that's where you voted. And they always put on a meal, so we also, probably cost you $2 a person. And after you voted, you go in the back room, and the guys are standing around drinking beer, and the wives are gossiping about somebody, and the kids are all trying to stuff their face full. And then once they get their face full, they're running around like little Indians. And then finally, everybody goes home. But it was a family affair. You got the day off. You were there. The purpose of that was to get you out and voting. I'm sure that they had some kind of written ballot that people could use, because there was a lot of World War II vets who had lost limbs or were in a situation that they couldn't go to the polling place. But I got to say, I remember like the Legion, they would send out cars to get these guys in. It was like Christmas time and Thanksgiving. They never left them alone. It was like this big deal that nobody's left out on the holidays or Columbus Day or, whatever. It was different. We're not where it's going. So since 2014, thank God, the youth voting started to go up. And nobody can figure out why. But in 2022, 13%. I think, I wish it was higher, but I didn't know it was that high. So I basically have this thing that I do, and, Josh, it tickles Josh when I do it because he's simple. Anyway, for the wizard, vote, vote, vote. Get a dog in the fight. Be a responsible American. If they don't do what you want them to do, vote them out. Term limits. Those are those things where Congress will never pass. Well, have you ever looked up what the Senate and the congressmen get for, compensation? Their health care plan has no copays. No co-pays. Co-pays are the death of me because I have a lot of bills. I'm somewhere in the $30 million area. I can't tell you. One flight cost me $18,000. Isn't that scary? 1 hour and 10-minute flight cost me $18,000. I mean, it saved my life, so I guess that was a good investment. But $18,000, you can fly around New York for $500. New York City in a helicopter. Are you kidding me? Come on. Oh my God. Can't stand it. What do you think, Coop? He just woke up.
He
Did I
didn't
wake
just
you up?
wake up, you woke him up.
Okay, so about time to. This dog sleeps 20 hours a day. He's like you. Anyway, so let me try to approach this voting shit some other way. These people are spending your tax money. Now, you go to an accountant, who'll believe it. You go to an accountant, right? And the accountant says to you, I'm going to save you this much money, but you're going to have to give me this much money. And therefore, it balances out. So these people, by hook or by crook, go to XYZ PAC and says, I want to be a congressman. So they look at your background and you happen to be a good looking guy or girl and you have no obvious blemishes in your past and they get you elected. Still can't figure that one out. But you're elected now, you're a congressperson. See? I almost said man again, but I got person. I'm evolving like a bloom flower. I'm evolving. And in the middle is a little caterpillar that's going to turn into a beautiful butterfly, and that's me. Never. So that's why voting is important. We've forgotten that as a society. We think voting is one of these things to be argued over, whether to have ID or not have ID, whether you got to have 1 day, 10 days, or like in New York State, we vote year round. Not really, but it feels like it. You just have to understand it is your only power to vote. And the real power is to vote them out. You understand that? It's not some, I'm so sick of voting for the least worst. I am so sick of that. I want a clear cut definition and I want somebody to fill that definition. I thought that Trump would do that. All right. He's a businessman. He's just like me. He understands the public. He knows how to get things done. And he did for the first term. But near the end of the first term, he kind of blew off the end. He kind of was doing things I wasn't real sure were good, like the speech before those guys attacked the Capitol. I was like, what are you doing? You got this mob here and you're inciting them? It's like the guys who break into the sheriff's office and brings the outlaw out and hangs him before the trial. So why was he? Never mind. It's another story. We can go into that forever. So what I'm trying to get to you is, your power to put people in, your power to take them out should be your power. And what we've done is we're asleep at the wheel because we got all these senators and Congress people and 3-letter agency people and bureaucrats that need everything to go smoothly. So they get their paycheck every, whatever, 2 weeks or however they pay them. And it's your tax money. So here's the situation. You got people who are career politicians now, like Biden. What is he, 42 years? congressman, senator, vice president, president. You know, we got Trump, we got Kamala Harris. I mean, if you don't think this woman's a village idiot, then you are. I'm sorry to say that, but if you don't get it, like, I'm sorry, you're in the same class with her. Because this woman will be sitting across from Putin, cackling like a third grade schoolgirl. You want that? Her claim to fame is locking up marijuana dealers in California and then using them to gain money for the state. And I wonder how much got scraped off and fell on the road and she picked it up. I don't have any proof of that, but I hate politicians. I like people that go and do the job in government and go home. But these politicians, they shape my ass, and that's an old saying, but they do. They shape my ass. If you vote for somebody, have a reason and write it down. Write it on your calendar or in your calendar on your phone. Please. If you vote for somebody, have a reason why you're voting for them. And then if they don't do it, vote them out. If we start that, right, we don't have to worry about term limits. We don't have to worry about getting the best people in, because right now, our best people do not want anything about politics. When Elon Musk said that he would join the Trump administration, you could have knocked me over. I thought he was a smart guy, but he's just a mechanical genius. He's not the smartest guy on the planet because he would join the Trump administration. What am I scared of? Well, guess what? How many times did Roosevelt get elected president? Ding, 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 ding. 4 terms. Mr. Trump, although I like a lot of things he says, I don't trust. So if he gets in president and he wants to stay there 16 years, what's to stop him? No, seriously, Congress won't move that fast to impeach him or to have the National Guard attack the Capitol. I don't know how that works, and I'm going to be honest. But if he declares a moratorium for the good of the country, who's going to stop him? He's the commander in chief. He's the guy we elected to do these hard decisions. That's what scares me. Otherwise, I don't have a clear choice. I'll vote for Trump, but I might, I'm considering the crazy woman, and then all of a sudden I realize I go back to Trump. It's the least worst situation again, and I hate being put into the least worst situation all the time. I feel like my whole life has been the least worst. Well, Kennedy was a clear, choice. I mean, there was no doubt about that. But that was the last one I had. Everybody else has been just who's a little bit better than the other one. Who do I trust not to push the button just because they're playing with their toes? I look at Biden and I go, he's got the nuclear codes. This man can, he sneezes, forgets where he is, what he's talking about. And all of a sudden he says, oh, by the way, guys, nuke Belarus. Scary, right? And all you guys that are out there going, oh, you can't do that. We have plenty of safeguards. You don't have shit. You have no idea what the government does. All these 3-letter agencies, they will, Cooper, leave it. All these 3-letter agencies have been lying to you your whole life. The FBI makes up their own statistics. and it presents it. There's no but fact checking. Hooper, leave it. She got my hat. Anyway, so, oh my God, how do I say this to you? You know how Elon went into X and quickly fired 80% of the people? I'm here to tell you, you could go in the FBI and do the same thing. 80% of the people, if they left tomorrow, would not affect the prosecution of any case or the finding of any terrorists or whatever else the FBI does these days. Now, remember, I'm old. So I remember when J. Edgar Hoover was there, and remember, this guy, it just amazes me when I see these reels about what a great person he is and how he's, protecting America from the German onslaught. Bullshit. This guy was just collecting dossiers on everybody. At first, he was only on people that could affect him and senators, and he kept pictures of them cheating on their wives, or if they were homosexual, which he was, by the way, just a little titty from. Never mind. So the FBI has been corrupt from day one. From day one. And now they give their own statistics, and they also tell you what they're doing after it's done. You get another 3-letter agency, the CIA. Let's just pick on them for a minute. Their whole premise of being and existing is to lie. And somewhere along the line, it got to be lying to other foreign governments, and now they lie to the American people about everything. 100% wipe off the face of the earth, make that facility they have into an old folks home. That's what I think. DOT, DOG, DO. They are all self-perpetuating. The budgets keep getting bigger, and they can't account for a third of their money. And Rumsfeld gets on the day before 9/11, tells there's $6 trillion or something like that they can't find in the Pentagon, and the next day is 9/11. So nobody ever even looked into it. We're giving money to everybody. Who do we not give money to? But yet there's people have lost everything, including their family. And Kamala is saying, here's $750, but we have to take taxes out of it. Sorry about that. So you're going to get $1.83. Because it's unearned income, so we tax it at 56.7%, and then you have the state and county taxes, so you're getting $1.83. Don't spend it all in one place. But yet we're sending millions and millions of dollars to Israel and to Ukraine, and to, we're supporting a space program, a foreign space program. We're the ones funding it, or at least not the American government, but your tax dollars. It's going through a 3-letter agency, but it's still our money. Oh, well, this is too heavy for a Friday. Usually it's lighter. But, did I tell you? My daughter's never voted in her whole life. She's like 26, 27. I don't even know how old she is. She's never voted. I'm like, I don't know how to manage this information. I got to take a couple of days, because if I talk to her now, it's going to end badly for both of us. However, to get back on the subject here, what was the subject? Oh, I know. I'm just talking about how to control the government. We got to get people in there that are going to downsize the federal government, give all the shit that the federal government is taking from the state back to the states, because every state you go to, you live in a state because you're living with like-minded people. All right. So if in your state you need a haircut every 2 weeks, and all women with that black mold and the three hairs have to have it removed. Okay. So you like those rules, so you move there. So why not give the all like-minded people control of their lives? Maybe you want to move to a state where you only get power 6 hours a day and everything's on the barter system, and you want to go back to nature. Come on, the YouTube videos on going back and living off the grid, you might as well be a flock of geese because it's everywhere. I'm talking about the poop. I'm sorry. It was a bad joke. Anyway, if like-minded people are going to these states because that's where the majority of the people are, so give them so they can run their lives the way they want. Can you imagine everybody from Ohio and Pennsylvania and the hills of West Virginia, all the Amish and the Mennonites getting together, and they go and take over Montana? Yeah. So they all migrate to Montana because there's nobody in Montana anyway, and they set up an Irish state, Amish state. Wouldn't that be cool? Really like visiting a foreign country in our own country. Here's a classic. This is the one I like. All like-minded people like Josh, data freaks. And we put him and we supply him with all this power and all this internet connection. And caffeine drinks and protein bars. And we put a facility together so they can hose off twice a week. See? We give them independence to do the majority of their rulings and their, government to them, and they can modify it, probably to attack other power grids or mess with bankings or whatever that, data freaks do. I'm just saying the federal government's got too much crapola that should be delegated to the states. I mean, if you're about, choice, you should live in a state with like-minded people. If you're about, everybody got to carry a gun, and if you can't see your gun, you're going to get a fine, and you all go to that state. What if we had a state full of people that only do crafts? How cool would that be? So you go on your vacation for a week or 10 days to the craft state. Man, that'd be cool. I'd love that. There's a better way, people. We had it. We did it for a long time. And I'm going to include myself as primary. We let it go. We didn't teach the younger generations as we should have. We allowed well-meaning school, whatever, counselors, psychologists, board members, to change the whole educational curriculum. We allowed this because we're the people. We the people. Do you understand we the people? Come on. Do not look it up.
When do you think the decline of patriotism really reared its head?
As soon as feminism came out. As soon as it came out and it became passe or gauche to be a masculine man. Patriotism depends, and this is going to get me a lot of flack, depends on the male part of society. It is the backbone. Who's the soldiers? Who's the guys that have the heavy equipment, drive the trains, get in the electrical boxes? Sure, we have women breaking those barriers, but who does it? it isn't the migrants, it's the American male. So somewhere along the 90s, going into 2000, we convinced everybody that a docile male is good. We, back, I'm talking about my age group, 50s and 60s, we were taught to be dangerous people. Dangerous people. Nobody ever said, I'm going to punch you in the face. Because by the time they finished a statement, you've already punched them. We had to make a rule in my house that we had this rule about if you weren't paying attention, you're walking around and somebody caught you, they'd blast you right in the chest or the face or the back or whatever. We had to make a rule. I think I was 14. My brother was older. I think he was 4 years older, Skip. That you don't punch in the face anymore because our girlfriends were pissed off, but we were always showing up with black eyes and broken noses. So we literally had to make a rule. You could punch anything where you want, including the nuts, but you can't punch in the face. Is that sad? Think about it. That's that 1960s shit.
The evolution of your game has devolved into the nut tap game, where the only place you're allowed to hit your buddy is right in the nuts.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, say it happens 4 times, somebody's going to come up and say, that's inappropriate behavior. That's the challenge that males have now. And I'm not talking about just D and A. I'm talking about those guys up to X. I mean, these guys, these women are deciding after 20 years of marriage that they no longer want this, and they get out, and then 6 months later they're begging to get back in, and because there's nobody to date. And oh my God, if I hear one more dating mishap from my contacts in the family and the neighborhood and Dunkin' Donuts and Cracker Barrel, I'm going to throw up. All I hear about is body count. I didn't even know what a body count. I had to look it up. Well, when I was growing up, there was, you did a certain amount of things. There was a lady down the street when you were 12. Your dad took you down, gave her $5, and she made you a man. But there was the girls, the loose and free girls that didn't give a shit. They all turned into hippies in the mid 60s. And then there was the girls you dated that were dating. You were dating because you're judging them if they're going to be wife potential, as my dad would say. Remember, when you're going to look for a wife, make sure she has potential. And my mother and my German grandmother would say, look, you've got to be worth something to a woman. So here, learn how to vacuum, learn how to run the dishwasher, learn how to sew a button back on, be considerate, ask her once in a while if she wants you to get something from the store. That's how we were raised. You had to be worth something more than I was so good looking. What I am is a fire hydrant with a wig on. And I know that. I understand that. I accepted who I was. I'm not, Rock Hudson, who, by the way, was gay. I'm not Charlton Heston or John Wayne or any of those guys. But I did the best what I could with what I had. And that's what you were taught. You were taught, this is what you have. Make the best of it. And we all realized that, we were talking to people that went through the Depression, who went through World War II, who had come back, and the guys with PTSD back there, their solution was to blow their brains out. And a lot of them did. Nobody understood about trauma of war back after World War II. And a lot of guys just off themselves. I remember in the neighborhood, a lot of funerals of guys that just couldn't. How did My dad said they just couldn't come home. World War II, like Vietnam had their language, and Korea, and all Gulf War veterans, they all have their own vernacular. But my dad would say they just couldn't make it home. Like, they were still in the war. Isn't that sad? Isn't it sad that all these years later, 78 years later, that the Gulf War veterans are still out on the streets and getting no services, or they have 80% disability, and all of a sudden a letter appears, and now they only have 40% disability. Hello? How does that work? If on Monday you're 80% disabled, on Tuesday you're 80% disabled, on Friday you better be 80% disabled, because you make that determination. All right, so you see improvement. Well, great. That's what you're working for, right? Doctors are telling you, the veterans associations are saying, work with the VA and improve your life. And when you do, they cut your disability. I don't understand that either. Maybe because I'm old. So Josh is fingering me again. So I guess I should say like, subscribe, share, comment, blow your nose in a tissue, put it in an envelope, and send it to me. I'll have the DNA analysis done. Go see my friends at Aortic Hope in St. Jude. Remember that the only thing I'm trying to do is give you firsthand knowledge. I'm not reading this from a textbook. I'm not doing it for shits and giggles. My family don't listen to me. I'm just the old man. So if I get it recorded, I guess somewhere along, some guy will dig up these things 250 years from now and go, hey, look at this fat guy. Fat old guy. All right. Josh, got anything, parting words? Come on, this is your 2 minutes.
Well, I would like to know when you're going to have this discussion with your daughter about voting.
Ooh, I don't know. I know she's coming over tomorrow to help my wife with something that she needs to get done before the winter sets in. But no, I'm going to make myself scarce, because I need to play it over in my mind how I'm going to do this, because I can't believe, I really can't believe a daughter of mine isn't voting. And she's almost, 26, 27 years old. And she's, smart girl. So the dog is constantly pushing me down and climbing on me because I'm always in AFib. That's his job. Got Josh witness how he won't give up. He'll turn me right over and lay on me. He's so funny.
He's a great dog. He's a great dog.
Yeah, but kind of like my wife, Not all there. But that's another story. All right, Josh, say goodbye.
Tell these nice people to vote one more time.
Oh, no, I don't want to do that. My throat hurts a little. Vote! 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 Understand, if you don't vote, you don't have a dog in the fight.